Good evening. I'm back. Welcome to the latest live edition of Last Bell Boxing. Glad to be back on the show. Looking forward to a packed full show today. Joined by normally host Ander. Good evening, Ander.
Yeah, you're taking my limelight, mate. I'm not happy about this.
I'm sorry about this. I'm sorry. Yeah, you've been doing a great job, by the way. You and Daz really have been doing a great job. I've been travelling here, there, and everywhere, as you know. But hopefully, I can have a few weeks on the show now. So, yeah. So, job well done, Ander. Channel's growing. You and Dad are doing a great job. Dad's just skiving tonight. I don't know what reason he's come up with, but what can be more important than coming on the show? I'm not sure.
He's grafting, mate. He's grafting.
Oh, yeah. That's his version of grafting, I think. So let's get straight into it then, because Pat's show, and I'll hand it over to you like always to talk about all things Jordan Gill versus Mick Conlans. Over to you.
Yeah, so just for everyone in the sidebar that's watching, and anyone that's watching it back later on, we are going to be going on to talk about Regis Prograis Devin Haney from that's going on this weekend over in the States. What a terrific fight that is. Can't wait to get your opinions on that one, Carl. Also, Ebony Bridges is on that card. Yeah. World title fight against former world champion. So very good, very good. Yeah. I mean, I've only picked those two fights out, to be honest.
And obviously on it.
Yeah, really interesting those two fights, in my opinion, mate. And also,
are you staying up for it?
Yeah, I think I will do, mate. I think I will. And also, we've got the card on Sunday from Bournemouth. Chris Billam-Smoth back out in front of his fans in what looks like a fairly decent card. So we'll go through that card in a bit more detail. But first and foremost, mate, as you can see from the caption, we're going to be talking about the amazing fight for Jordan Gill from the weekend. Not a lot of people saw it coming. Me and you had a conversation with Jordan Gill a few weeks back in Sheffield, and he told us exactly what he was going to do to Michael Conlans.
Yeah.
Told us he felt so much stronger at the weight, and clearly he's so much stronger at the weight. He carries power, Jordan Gill, and a bit's been said about he carries power, but because he's draining himself, he was killing himself to get down to feather. Yeah. He wasn't carrying that power into the ring. So clearly, now he's making super feather and making it fairly comfortably. He is carrying that power because, well, I'll get your opinion on it, mate. Was you surprised at how easily Jordan Gill was putting Michael Conlans down? Is it a case of Michael Conlans, he's got to that point in his career, he's just got no chin left? Or is it that Jordan Gill shocked him and he wasn't expecting coming?
Well, first of all, it wasn't lost on me. Eddie Hearn took a lot of the compliments for him stepping up in weight, and he should have done it years ago. So Eddie took the credit for this victory, to some degree.
Yeah, of course he did.
But I predicted Conlans to box Gill's head off. I didn't think Jordan Gill had that performance in him. I'll be brutally honest. So I got this wrong. I obviously Conlans, I questioned his power going up a weight again. But Jordan Gill he looked relentless. He looked like a career best performance. And every time he got to him, he hurt him.
Yeah.
So who knows where Jordan Gill's going to go from here? Obviously, he won't be fighting Lee Wood. I think there's a Ben Davison influence in there and Barry at the gym. His old man's coaching him now as well. So it felt very fresh. And good luck to Jordan Gill. He deserves some big fights now to make some serious dough. Lee Wood obviously enjoyed the night as well. Get a mention in for Lee, seen on the apron after the victory. But no, it's a very exciting division, and Jordan Gill's now pushed himself right into them world title fights. To be honest, yeah. Very impressive.
Jordan, there was a little bit of a funny point when Jordan, as soon as Lee Wood stepped on the apron, Jordan Gill turned around to him and said, "What took you so long?"
Yeah.
Great friends, mate, and they've been friends for a very, very long time. So it's good to see they're backing each other still.
I think Conlans gone though. I think he's gone. To be honest, it looks like he's punch resistant. I know he's at an higher weight, but it doesn't seem to be what it was. I expected Conlans to get on his toes and make Gill work and follow him around the ring, but it just didn't happen, did it?
I think from very early on when Jordan Gill put him down early doors,
He didn't want
Michael Conlan, it was a case of, I think he thought to himself, I better try and get Gill out of here quick. That's why he stood and traded, in my opinion, and didn't box.
But
because we all know
he's never got anyone out there quick, lighter weights.
We all know how good Michael Conlans is, mate. He's a brilliant boxer when he sticks to his boxing. I said last week, didn't I? I was fearful for Michael Conlans stepping up to super featherweight. At the end of the day, he's a super bantamweight fighter that grew out of that and went to feather, which is fine. But when you don't have that, like you've just said, when you don't have that one punch power that keeps fighters off, it's difficult. When you've got Michael Conlans' style, it's difficult to box like that all night long and not get caught at all.
That was Jordan Gill's cup final, wasn't it? Let's be honest. It was his cup final. There's no way he was getting anywhere near that level again if he lost that fight on Saturday night.
It was a do or die fight for Jordan. I'm sure he'll admit that himself. I've questioned. Like I say, me and you've said it 1,000,001 times, mate. That Michael Conlans, we thought Michael Conlans was going to go on and become a world champion.
Yeah.
And that I don't see that happening. You can pick that comment up in a minute. I don't see that happening at any time now, mate. I'm with you. I think you might actually see Jamie Conlon will take him to one side because he listens. He has a lot of respect for his brother. I think he might take him to one side and say, Michael, that's it, mate.
I think he looked a bit caught between styles as well, because obviously he's gone under a new coach and he looked a bit caught between styles, if I'm being brutally honest. But too good an opponent to go in and start experimenting with a new style of boxing.
We have to talk about what Jordan Gill said in that post-fight.
Yeah, very brave of him.
Yeah, very brave to let everybody know. But the fact that he's gone through that, come out the other side, this could be like an Indian summer, mate. It could be like his second coming.
Well, it could be Lee Wood-esque, couldn't it?
Yeah, it could be, mate. I mean, do I expect he's going to get a world title shot next? No, but I do expect he's going to get a massive fight. I think he'll get a couple of really big fights, mate, and then he'll get a world title shot.
I think he'll be next. I think he'll be on the Lee Wood undercard at his City Ground against a damn good fighter.
That makes sense, don't it? Yeah. That makes sense, and he deserves. Jordan Gill is such a nice fella, mate. We've met him a number of times now, and every single time he's given us time. He's such a polite bloke. There's no airs and graces about him. He's an humble fella. So yeah, I couldn't be any happier, mate, for Jordan Gill. If I'm
just going to put a couple of comments on.
Yeah, go for it.
Dad is pretending that he's going to work in a minute, so I want him to obviously hear them read out. So he mentioned that diving's not in my nature. Just before I go to work, Bridges walked through Japanese girl. She's very limited and likes to fight, which plays into Bridges' hands. Haney stops Prograis late. Splinters. He goes on to say, he gives himself a pat on the back by saying that he was right about Gill, was too big and strong, and performed very well. Showed some of his gym form Saturday night. Very good fighter.
He is a very good fighter. He can box as well, Jordan Gill. He didn't have to show it that much on the weekend because he was walking through everything that Michael Conlans put to him.
I think it's just an example. He's found his optimum weight. He's been killing himself to get down to feather. And he said he feels better, and he definitely looks better in the ring.
It's very interesting, isn't it? It's very interesting. He's changed trainer. Makes me wonder when that conversation about him moving up weight took place, and who kind of put it to him to do that.
Clearly.
Of course. Yeah, of course it was, mate. Yeah, of course it was. So, just want to pick one more fight up on that card, mate. We'll two of them. Firstly, Kevin Agyarko, Troy Williamson. Very good fight. The scorecards for me were way too wide.
Yeah.
So 98, 92 to Agyarko, 97, 92 to Agyarko, and then 96, 94 to Williamson. I think Agyarko won the fight.
Yeah, I thought he showed it was slightly higher level than Williamson, if I'm honest, and I thought he did the better work, didn't he?
And to be fair, mate, the questions were there before the fight. Well, what level's Agyarko at?
Yeah.
Because we didn't really know. He's very strong, very tough. Williamson's been in with everybody, mate. He's a proper yardstick for Agyarko.
Always short though, right? Against a Will.
Well, I don't know, mate. The fight against Keller was very good. Really good fight, really close. He did a number on Cheeseman. And Cheeseman's very tough and beats a lot of people. Williamson is a very, very, very good fighter, mate, and probably underrated. But Agyarko's shown he can move levels now. I think he's got more levels in him than that as well. He's answered a few questions there for me. Very good fight. The one I was really disappointed in was the Tyrone McKenna Lewis Crocker fight.
Yeah.
Do you know what I didn't like, mate? I didn't like all the antics in the ring. I didn't like when somebody landed a shot, the other one was stood there going, that didn't hurt them. Just fight, lads.
Just get on with it.
I mean, Lewis Crocker was brilliant, by the way. Boxed fantastically and won the fight very, very easily. And the scorecards were bang on, in my opinion.
My understanding is, though, and my understanding, Crocker hasn't actually got a contract with Matchroom moving forward. I'm sure Eddie will get him signed up now. But as we said,
not without a doubt,
I'm sure he's a free agent, which is interesting.
Well, they'd have had McKenna. They'd have had McKenna for that fight, mate. They'd have thought McKenna was going to come through that fight. Crocker showed levels for me.
I thought he walked him down well. I thought he walked McKenna down from the first bell. To be honest,
I think you got. This was one of them fights where someone grew old overnight. McKenna just didn't have anything left. He didn't have any answers. He has, mate.
You can't keep going to the well, can you?
No, he just didn't have any answers, mate. Which is a shame. And how tough is it? Some of them shots, mate. Oh my God! And he was eating them up like they were nothing. He was outboxed, but toughness. I mean, a number of people have said it, toughest fight they've ever seen, and all that malarkey.
The trouble is, though, Andy, the toughest fighters haven't got longevity, have they?
No, and that played itself out. I think he's retired now, hasn't he, McKenna?
Yeah.
So yeah, going to be interesting to see what happens with Michael Conlan, and obviously going to be great to see what happens with Jordan Gill next.
I think Conlan will hang his gloves up.
Yeah, I think he will, and it's a shame. It's a shame that he never won a world title, mate, because he's going to go down as one of the best, one of the better fighters not to do that. The skill level Michael Conlan's got is outstanding. And
I think he's a better amateur than he's a pro, though. That's
mate, yeah, maybe he's one of them fighters that just didn't turn over that well. But a couple of great nights, obviously fight of the year against Lee Wood. Bit of a shame for Michael Conlan. I feel a bit for him.
He lost it. He lost some of his soul in that Lee Wood fight because obviously, let's be honest, he was doing really well in that fight. I wouldn't say dominating because I think people rewrite history in that fight a lot. But he had a very good first half of the fight and was probably going on to a points victory, if we're honest.
Yeah. He was definitely up on the cards.
That one shot has probably changed. Probably took a little bit more away from Conlan than we thought it did.
Well, I mean, he was out cold clearly, and he fell out of the ring. You don't know what damage that's done to you, and then obviously he goes on and fights for that second, that Lopez fight, and gets knocked out again. Which very surprised again. He stood and traded. He stood in front of Lopez, and the problem is when you're fighting in front of your home crowd like that, it's very difficult as a fighter to not get dragged into that.
That was Lopez's only way to win, wasn't it? With him standing and trading.
It was, yeah. So it's a shame, mate. But it is one of them. He had a fantastic amateur career, and that's probably what he's going to be remembered for. So if he does retire, good luck, Michael Conlan, in your retirement, mate, or whatever you decide to go on to do. I hope you stay in boxing in some form or another. maybe join forces with your brother and come up with some sort of promotion in Ireland because it needs it.
Where's a good talker?
Yeah, he is. Yeah, let's see what happens, mate. Right, let's move on to the next topic, buddy. What a fight this is. So Daz has given his opinion in the sidebar. He thinks that Devin Haney stops Regis Prograis late on. Obviously, this is Devin Haney's first fight moving up. He's aiming to become a 2-weight world champion.
He's class, though. You know what I think about Haney.
He is class, but he does get hit, mate. Linares proper put him on spaghetti legs at the end of one of the.
No joke, is there? There's no joke.
He's a proper puncher as well, mate. If he catches Haney the way Linares and a couple of other people have caught Haney, Haney's in for a difficult night, and he won't have felt the power that Prograis brings to the table. As we all know, Regis Prograis only lost one fight.
And that was close.
Very close. Arguable that he actually won it. I don't think he did. I think Josh Taylor won. I think Josh Taylor won the fight, but it was a very, very close fight. And he's gone under the radar. He's not always had a massive promotion. He's kind of missed out on some opportunities that he could have got, but he's obviously now WBC super lightweight champion, which this fight's for. And mate, I will not be surprised if Prograis comes through this fight as victorious. This is all about our Haney. Our Haney's capable of taking that extra strength, that extra power that comes from Prograis, the extra weight that's going to be put on him. His defensive style is not one of those styles, and he's not like a back foot fighter where you're using a lot of energy. So I don't think the extra weight that Haney's going to have on him is going to make any difference to his style. He's got such a good defense, though. That's where Prograis is going to struggle. So the questions for me are: can Prograis get inside and land shots clean on Haney? And then what does Haney do to counter that? What an ideal fight for me would be that Prograis lands early, and then we've got a fight on our hands. Because if it goes 5, 6, 7 rounds and Prograis not landed, he's going to get frustrated, and that'll play into Haney's hands.
And you would have used a lot of energy up.
Absolutely, yeah.
If he's punching at shadows.
Absolutely. I don't see a stoppage from Haney, I've got to be honest. If Haney wins its points, but Prograis' best chance is to try and jump on him and rough him up a little bit, get him out of his comfort zone, and hope he lands. Because if he does land, we've seen before, Haney can be hurt. But I've said it 1,000,001 times on the show. I know people in the sidebar don't always like it, but you got to dare to be great, right?
Yeah. And people go in on Haney because of his boxing style, but from a sweet science perspective, I really enjoy watching him fight because I like the way, I like his style. People come watching boxing purely for knockouts. You're not always going to get a knockout. What you can get is a demonstration of the pure sweet science, and I think that's what Devin Haney is.
The only thing I agree with you on a lot of that. The only thing I don't like is it's negative, and I'm not a negative. I don't go for negative fighters. He
ain't going to come and have a war with you.
No. Of course he's not, mate. And they're his attributes. All I'm saying is that's not my favourite style. So because of that, he's not my favourite fighter. You know full well that my favourite fighter of all time is Marvin Hagler, and look at his style. Very aggressive, very come forward. Walks fighters down, walks through shots. I love exciting fighters. And he's not an exciting fighter.
I'm not going to say his style excites me, but I can appreciate the technicality behind it.
Of course. Absolutely, mate. And I can as well. It's up to Regis Prograis to pull him out of that, isn't it? And take over the control of the fight.
I don't think Prograis will be good enough to rough him up. I think many have tried. I don't think he'll be good enough to rough him up.
That's the interesting thing. It's such a different clash of styles. It's whoever stamps the raw authority on the fight.
Yeah,
I can see Haney winning this on points. That's my prediction.
I think Haney will win on points as well. To be honest, he ain't a knockout artist, is he, by any stretch? So, no. I think he'll put a bit of an exhibition on Andy. I do. I think as much as Prograis will be in the fight, I think Haney's just a little bit of levels above.
Well, we'll see, mate. Yeah, we'll see. Okay, so there's obviously another fight on the card, another World Championship fight on the card. Ebony Bridges fights against Mayo Yoshida for the IBF bantamweight title. Now, I
don't know much about her opponent, I'll be honest.
So Mayo Yoshida was a former super flyweight world champion. She has some losses on her record, though, mate. She's beatable, like Daz has said. I don't think she's. I'm kind of going with what Daz is saying. I don't think she's strong enough or tough enough. Ebony Bridges, obviously, she had that injury, mate. She's been out a year.
Well, this is a welcome to America gig for Ebony Bridges, isn't it? Let's be honest. It looks that way. It looks like,
yeah. I mean,
look what happened with Anthony Joshua when he tried to do that.
She's going well out of her comfort zone. As we all know, she's now got a new trainer in Dave Caldwell. They've been together quite a while now, a good few months. They've spent a lot of time in each other's company, and I know it's only pad work, but I'm seeing a lot more from Ebony Bridges on those pad shots that they've been taking than she was showing before. So I think she's learning quite a lot from Dave Caldwell, different things that maybe she didn't have in a game before. It's going to be interesting to see what we get from this fight. But you know full well.
Don't mean nothing to it's under the lights, though, Andy, does it? You know that.
No, of course it doesn't, and it needs to be implemented. But you know full well, no matter what happens, that Ebony Bridges is gonna be in a fight.
Yeah.
You know, she's for all of the other stuff that goes on, the other stuff that makes the headlines with her through other people, the girl can fight. You don't become a world champion without being able to fight.
No.
She's shown her guts in the Shannon Courtney fight. You know, those last few rounds, only having one eye. Not many male fighters do that, mate.
No, it's very good, very good.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to that fight as well, more than any other on the card, if I'm honest. So those two fights for me are the highlights of that show.
I think Paro versus Montana Love will be a good fight as well.
Yeah. That's not a bad fight, mate.
It's a good card. It's a good card.
It is a good card, but American fight fans frustrate me because the atmosphere is not there that you get in the UK. So that kind of puts a little bit of a dampener on some of the shows for me. But hey ho, it is what it is.
And then I'll just pick another comment up with Darren because obviously he's off to work in a minute.
He's proper putting it on you tonight, doesn't it?
Just before I go, got to say, thought Chloe Watson was quite fortunate on Friday as well. So that's probably a little plug at me because I was saying Chloe Watson's the best in that weight division. All I'd say is she got the job done. You know, I don't think it was the best performance. It'll be interesting to see where Nicola goes in terms of next opponents, and hopefully she can get the fight with Chloe. That'd be a great fight.
Well, congratulations to Chloe Watson.
Yeah,
the new flyweight European champion of the world. There was another European champion of the world as well on Saturday night that's gone completely under the radar. That's Lauren Parker. We've had her on the show. We're going to be having her on the show next week, talking about the build up to that fight and how she's had to basically pay for it herself, which we know full well, mate, from previous conversations with promoters, how much it costs to get even a shot at one of these titles. And she's had to do it by herself. She's got no promotion. So congratulations to Lauren Parker for becoming the new super flyweight world champion. European champion.
And hopefully a promoter will sign her up on the back of that.
Well, what it does, mate, in my opinion, is it sets up a couple of absolutely massive fights. So obviously Shannon Ryan, Emma Dolan has been signed for the Commonwealth, and they're making a British title fight for that vacant British title fight.
Do you know where that's landing or anything yet, Andy? Do you know what platform it's on? Or
no, but I think it's likely to be on Matchroom on DAZN. I would expect so. If the British title's involved, mate, I would expect it's on there.
It could well land on a big show, couldn't it? If you think it could land on a massive show that might be happening at a local football ground at the end of the season. If you think about where they're both from.
Oh, I never thought of that, mate.
Yeah, well, that's what up there if you're thinking, down there. Down
So yeah, I mean, wow. Obviously, Emma Dolan is. If people don't know, he's trained by Carl Greaves out of Newark, which is Nottinghamshire. So having her on, if we get a fight at the City Ground, having them on that fight for those titles would be brilliant. Interesting, mate. Shannon Ryan's a London girl, though, isn't she? So if it's being dragged onto that network, are they going to want to give any sort of advantage to Emma Dolan being now a kind of Nottinghamshire girl? Are they going to want to have that up here, or are they going to want to keep it on a show down in London? It's going to be interesting to see, mate. But the point I was making is the winner of that fight, the natural progression is the European title next, and that's now held by Lauren Parker. So yeah, I'm gonna next week when we do that interview with a mate, I'm going to be putting these questions to her. I'm sure she's going to be very, very open to answering them as well. She's not stupid. She knows she's got a finger on the pulse with who's in her division. She knows who's there. Yeah, very interesting, mate.
If it makes money, it makes sense, doesn't it?
Really good, just really good fights, mate. Really, really good fights. And who's to say there can't be a round robin between those three fighters? It's not a backward step for either Shannon Ryan or Emma Dolan.
Emma Dolan really impressed me against Nicola Oakwell. I'll be honest.
Yeah, she was very good.
Impressed me.
Yeah, she was very good, mate.
I knew she was good, but I didn't quite know she was that good. I'll hold my hand up. Nothing that I haven't said today, Cam.
Yeah.
So that'll be one hell of a fight. That is not a one-sided fight in any stretch of the imagination.
No, it's a great fight. It's a great fight, and they're both aggressive fighters as well. So it's going to be a proper fight. That I looking forward to it when it actually finally lands. So yeah, congratulations to those two fighters. So before we move on to the Bournemouth show that's happening Sunday night, mate, we need to. I haven't got a caption for this, but we'll just talk about it. We need to give a little bit of a nod to two inductees that are going to be going into the International Boxing Hall of Fame. Just been announced. Ricky Hatton and Jane Crouch are being inducted into the International Boxing Hall of Fame this year, which is brilliant news. Both of them have done so much for boxing in the UK, mate. Here we go.
Yeah, I mean, I've said on here before that I think Jane Crouch is a true trailblazer. The Katie Taylors of this world, have got a lot to thank Jane Crouch for, because she started the movement when it wasn't fashionable. There was no money in it.
Yep.
And it was, every step forward was a challenge. So well deserved. And in terms of Ricky Hatton, we all know about his career. He was only beat by the best around in that era. A lot of charity work, as Jane Crouch does, outside the ring. And the man of the people, Ricky Hatton, isn't he? He could be sat next to you in a pub having a pint of Guinness. He can relate to people, and that's why he took the crowds that he took over to Vegas, which has never been done since, let's be honest.
Well, so, America still talk about it now. The promoters over there, matchmakers, they talk about it because they've never seen it before, and they're never going to see it again. Yeah, all the fighters from the UK take fans over, but not to that scale. Not to the level of Ricky Hatton's fans.
Like 25,000 embarking on Vegas.
Crazy, mate. Crazy. And the way and the way those fans were in the arenas as well. American fans, like I said earlier on, they're not as passionate about boxing as we are. They're passionate about other sports in the States, but they're not as passionate about boxing, and they don't. I don't think American fans kind of follow fighters like regionally, like we do in the UK. All those fans, Ricky Hatton fans, they're all Manchester boys.
Yeah,
the majority of that.
Only one exception in America is probably Philadelphia. Philly fighters tend to get good following, don't they? But that's about it, to be honest.
I think the Garden with the Irish contingent, they follow Irish fighters, and they're quite passionate.
And maybe Boston, and that's
Irish. Irish people are passionate, aren't they? That's why.
Yeah.
But as a rule, it's more of an event with American fans for me. It's more of an event. They go to these shows because it's an event, not because there's a particular fighter on him. It's more the spectacle, I think. There is a difference in the fan bases, without a shadow of a doubt, mate. But Ricky Hatton, mate, just look at his record.
Yeah.
Look at who he fought, and what he did in the States was outstanding. And again, I'll echo what you said about Jane, and all the big fighters, the Katie Taylors of this world. They'll all admit that if it wasn't for Jane Christ, female boxing wouldn't be thought about the way it is now. And then obviously Katie Taylor, as we know and we've spoke about on a number of occasions, as she's then taken that and run with it, hasn't she?
Yeah, she picked the baton up, didn't she, and carried on with it. So fair play.
Made it what it is today, mate, hasn't she?
Yeah, there's more opportunity now than there was when Jane cried. Very different eras, isn't it? Very different, in terms of opportunities, in my view. So yeah, I think they're both a credit to the sport.
Absolutely, mate.
We better pick Darren's comment. Oh, he's not gone to work yet, by the way. So Emma Dolan beat Shannon Ryan. Her fight with Nick was harder. Shannon doesn't get nearer. So there you go.
Emma's a very big ranger.
She is.
Super fly, isn't she? She uses all her attributes brilliantly. The difference in a year of her being with Cole Greaves is night and day, isn't it? From that first fight we saw against her to the fight against Nicola Oatwell. That's I mean, not quite a year, but you know what I mean. The things that they've worked on and the improvements that have been made on both sides, outstanding, mate. Can't take anything away from her. It's just a brilliant fight. Shannon Ryan's very tough, very aggressive. She's got more of a bulky kind of stature. She's not as tall, and she'll have a lot of questions to be answered. Is she going to be able to get inside those levers? Is she going to be able to get inside the jab of Emma Dolan?
She's going to have to if she wants to win the fight.
Yeah, well, she's gonna take a lot of shots coming in, mate, to do that. I think Emma Dolan. I have to agree with Daz. Emma Dolan's got to be the favourite. A lot of boxing fans. This is interesting, though, isn't it? Because Emma's been on the small hall. There'll be a lot of fans that have watched Shannon Ryan's progress so far that don't know anything about Emma Dolan, and they won't have her as favourite, and they won't have her as, even though she's Commonwealth champion, she should be the one coming in with that belt. They won't give her the credit that she deserves, because they won't have seen her. So it's going to be really interesting, mate. Great fight. I can't wait for it.
Okay, moving on. Last topic of the night.
So, Chris Billam-Smoth back down in Brighton in front of his own crowd again. You know what I really like about this fella, mate? Is in his name, the gentleman. It suits him perfectly. He purposely asked for this fight to be a Sunday night, so that all the fans, all the Bournemouth fans, could be there at his fight, because obviously Bournemouth are away that Saturday, and they wouldn't have been back. Yeah, they wouldn't have been back. So the fact that he's managed to get the fight made for the Sunday rather than the Saturday, shows a lot about him and a lot about his respect for his fans. As a character, mate, as from what I've seen of him on TV and interviews and all of that, comes across as a real nice fella. So before we get on to Masternak and Billam-Smoth, let's talk a little bit about the undercard. Francesca Renese. She's making a second fight of a pro career. What are your thoughts on that first fight of hers?
Yeah, I think she's doing everything she should be doing. I've got a question for you before we start. Are boxers in danger of losing their places, let's say third in the running as promotions in the UK? Do you think GBM are coming up on the rails?
I think yes is the answer. I think boxer need to be very, very, very careful.
Do you think the wheels are coming off a little bit?
I don't know if the wheels are coming off. The problem they've got is they've got that massive Sky platform with all the availability to promote fighters, and fighters are not getting promoted. You're not seeing the way Eddie Hearn built Joshua as a fighter, for example, is probably the best example. Actually, I know he got a lot of fame because he won the gold at the 2012 games. But even so, what they did with that promotional wheel with Joshua, putting him in front of everybody, getting him on Sky News, getting him on all these sports shows,
Soccer AM, places like that.
All of that doesn't seem to be happening with fighters on Sky's platform, and I don't understand why. Is it that boxers just don't know how to do it? But I'll tell you this right now. We've been to a number of GBM shows. Those guys have got some serious ambition. They've now teamed up with TalkSport, and they're on TalkSport YouTube for their fights going forward. They've got a brilliant venue now in Sheffield. I don't think they'll stay there for all of the fights, but the venue there looks like it could be a real great venue for them going forward. It wouldn't surprise me if the powers that be at Sky have got GBM on their radar as a promoter for the future.
I don't think Ben Shalom's doing a particularly great job of late. I'll be honest with you. I know I've never been his biggest fan, but I don't think he utilises the vehicle of Sky like he should be doing. I don't think the fighters' profiles are where they need to be. He's invested heavily into the cruiserweight division. Yeah, I don't think he utilises that either. So I just wanted your take on it, because people obviously think that I'm anti-Ben Shalom, and I'm not. I just look at it and think he could be doing more.
Yeah, so I give him a little bit of a pass, and I have done for a while, thinking, he's a young promoter, he's learning on the job on the big stage. But how long can you give him a pass for? He's made a couple of massive fights that I'm sure they've paid a lot of money for. He's got some real GBM talent on there in Ben Whittaker and Lauren Price, we will talk about shortly. Ben Whittaker is an absolute is a promoter's dream.
Yeah.
Because he's one of them kids that you're gonna love. Yeah, Marmite. You're gonna love him or you're gonna hate him. Well, either way, love him or hate him, you're gonna tune in because you love him, or you're gonna tune in to watch him get beat. He's a promoter's dream, and where's his promotion? I just don't see it. I don't see him on anything. I don't understand whether it's all changed on Sky, whether they're not wanting to back boxing the big way like they used to. I don't know, mate.
I think ever since Barney Francis left his position, I'm not sure they've got the same budget. I'll suggest that's probably why Eddie Hearn looked at the DAZN deal, because he'd been open and saying in interviews that his budget was getting cut on a yearly basis. So
yeah, well, maybe that partly answers your question, mate. Anyway, let's get into it. So Lauren Price, we all know how good her amateur career was. She's now sat at 5-0. She's in an 8-rounder against Sylvia Bortops, who last time out, I think, or the time out before that, I think it was last time out, lost a close points decision to Michaela Mayer. Now, Lauren's been very vocal, mate, on the fact that she wants the winner of that fight, Jonas against Mayer, that's coming up in the new year. I mean, very interesting that, you know, it's quite early on in her pro career, and she's making that big call out. If she does a number on this girl, what does that say about Mayer's position in the division? You know, is she then due a shot at Jonas Mayer, the Jonas Mayer winner? Early on, she's only 5-0. That'll be for a world title if that happens, but a big fight. What's your opinion on that?
I don't think Jonas will jump in with Price. I don't think she'll do it. I think she'll be looking, if she beats Mayer, she'll be looking for a Clarissa Shields fight, in my view. She's very selective in who she fights, isn't she, Jonas?
So she should be at this part of the career, mate.
Yeah, and I don't think she intends on having many more fights, if I'm honest. So what's in it for her jumping in with Price unless there's a bucket load of money? I don't think it happens. Is my honest opinion.
You might be right. Whereas if Mayer comes through that fight, I don't expect it to, by the way. I think Jonas wins it. But if Mayer comes through that fight, I think she would take the Lauren Price fight.
Yeah, if the money's there, she will.
Mayer's very happy fighting in the UK, mate. I think she realises that this is where the money is. I think she realises this is where the fan base for female fighters is. You know, there's a lot of respect for female fighters in the UK and UK fight fans, and I think she realises that. You know, you see her a lot on commentary nowadays as well over here. I think she realises this is where it's.
The thing about female fighting, they don't mind losing the O, do they? You know, they don't mind.
No, not at all.
I think Lauren Price is in a no-lose situation. If she jumps in with Jonas and gets beat, it's too early. We can go again. If she jumps in and beats Jonas, then the world's a lobster. So she's in a no-lose situation. But I just think from a Jonas perspective, what's in it for her? Yeah.
I get what you're saying, man. No, you're right. She's damned if she does. She's damned if she don't. If she fights Lauren Price,
if she beats her, she's expected to beat her. If she loses the prize, then where'd she go from there?
Yeah, it'd have to be a massive payday, wouldn't it, to entice her into that fight? But like you say, you know, she's going to be wanting to fight the best. It's all about legacy, isn't it? But let's see how it pans out. I mean, wouldn't surprise me if Boxer take Lauren Price a different route. But let's see how it pans out. So next up, the man we've just been talking about, Ben Whittaker. Again, he's 4-0, mate. He was out with that injury. He's now back. This is obviously a light heavyweight fight, 8-rounder. Against Stivon Leonetti, is it? Give me. We spoke about this in the past, mate. But give me your opinion on Ben Whittaker as a fighter. What do you think of him?
I think he's really good as a fighter, but it's just a personal opinion. I don't like all the showboating, especially at the level that he's operating at. Let's have it right. He was a very classy Olympian. He was beating people in the amateurs who are better skilled than the fighters he's been in with.
Without a shadow of that.
I think the fact that he's had an injury brought him a bit of time, but eventually the British boxing public are going to want him to actually jump in with someone of note. He ain't going to keep getting away with these tick-over fights.
Yeah,
but he would have some credit in the bank because he's had an injury. I agree with the Marmite comment. I think you're going to get people a bit like when Naz was in his pomp, where people are tuning in hoping he gets cleaned out.
Yeah.
But there's no doubt of his talent, but he just needs, you know, put his foot down a little bit more on the matchmaking side. I feel someone's who can actually take him into deep water a little bit.
Well, it's a stacked division. there's lots of fighters that are at various levels in the light heavyweight division in the UK, mate. They haven't got to be looking for European fighters. There's plenty in the UK can be going at. That's the way to take him, in my opinion. But I agree with you. At some point or another in the very near future, they're going to have to step him up a little bit because he's way too good for the level he's playing at. The showboating is what it is, mate. We haven't seen an enigma, in my opinion, like this since Naz. Love him or hate him, it's entertaining. Some of the stuff he's done in his first few fights, though, against fighters that, with all due respect to him, let's have it right, should not have been in the ring with him. Some of the showboating is just a little bit too far for me.
Yeah,
I like it. I like his style. I like his positive attitude and the fact that he believes in his ability. I love that. Some of it, though, is just a little bit too far for me. That's all.
Yeah.
But you won't get away with doing stuff like that at big levels, unless you're as good as Naz was. Naz did it at world level, and we're still beating people with single punch knockouts.
He got found out in the end, though.
Against Barrera, mate, because Barrera didn't stand for it. He just walked him down. Naz got away with a few, though, didn't he? People look back on it with rose-tinted glasses. Naz was a brilliant fighter, but there was a couple of fights there where he got away with a few with that punch power.
Yeah.
I don't know whether Ben Whittaker carries that power. So we'll see.
We don't know yet, do we? We don't know until he jumps in with someone. And
obviously completely different weights as well. We're talking about a completely different game here. But he's not the same as Naz. I'm using that as kind of a Naz was Marmite as well. That I'm looking at it from that angle.
I mean, do you think Ben Shalom's done a good job with Ben Whittaker in terms of exposure?
No, I don't think he's done a very good job with any of the fighters he's got at the minute, mate. That's kind of what I'm saying about. The thing is, you don't need massive budget when you've got the platform of Sky. Surely they get him on, like we're saying, Sky Sports. All those shows they got on Sky, those sports shows and all the chat shows. You get him on them, mate. Get him noticed by the general public, and that's what's made AJ as massive as he is the fact that everybody loves AJ, from babies to grandmas.
Well, everyone knows who he is, you mean, as well?
Yeah, but they all loved him, didn't they? Because of how well spoken he was and how he come across in all the interviews and how he come across on the shows. Everyone was rooting for AJ in those early days, and there's not anybody on Sky that you can say is getting that level of pushing, level of backing.
I don't think he did a great job with Billam-Smoth either, who's out of contract now, by the way. So I don't think he did a particularly great job with Billam-Smoth.
I think Billam-Smoth's been let down by a lot of people in boxing, mate. I don't think any of them have done massive things for him. Yeah, you can say that Frank Warren got him his world title. What did his own do for him? What did Matchroom do for him? In all the time he was there, what did they get him?
Probably hurt him his eyes first, to be fair, but apart from that,
well, yeah, but he didn't. They didn't put he wasn't one of the higher thought of fighters.
He had to go out to Russia for his world title shot to get robbed.
He had to go to Russia. He had to go to America for his big paydays. It's one of them, mate. Brilliant fighter, one of the best of his generation, and he was never given the push he deserved. So they've all, in my opinion, they're all guilty of that.
And you could argue the same with Callum Smith. We're not hearing nothing about that upcoming fight. I know it's a little bit of a way off yet, and you've got Christmas between now and then. It's
massive, isn't it? The fight's massive.
Yeah,
it's huge, mate. I mean, and we talk about how good Eddie Earn is as a promoter, but he tends to, there's certain fighters that he'll put all his energy into, and then other fighters he lets them tick along. He puts them on cards, and he kind of leaves them to do their own publicity. Which,
I mean, I'm hoping, Andy, once December the 23rd out of the way, that he might actually switch his attention to Callum Smith in the new year, because
he needs to, mate.
Biggest fight in the new year by far, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Apart from pure music, if you want to count that.
Yeah, no, yeah, I agree, mate. Okay, moving on to the next fight on the card. Lee Cutler is fighting for the English super welterweight title now. As we know, the last Bournemouth show had Lee Cutler versus Stanley Stannard. Stan obviously being a local lad to us. Lee Cutler come through that fight, very close fight. Stan, and I'm not just saying this in hindsight, and people might say it's sour grapes or whatever, I don't care. Stan wasn't 100% going into that fight. It's not down to me to say what the crack was there. You know, if someone asks Stan the question, I'm sure he'll answer it. But I know, you know, that things weren't what maybe they could have been. You would have seen a different Stanley Stannard had that fight been slightly later. That's all I'm going to say.
We will do next time. Next time is at that level, and you know you'll see a different version.
Yeah, completely agree. But take nothing away from Lee Cutler. He won the fight. It was a very good fight, very close fight. He got the decision, and now he's in for a shot at the English title. And in my opinion, it's going to be an easy night's work. I'm seeing nothing on Kingsley's. I'm seeing nothing on Kingsley's record that tells me that he's going to really pose any trouble to Lee Cutler. Lee Cutler's obviously a local lad down Bournemouth as well. He's going to have a lot of fan base, and this is going to be a parade for him, mate, for the English title, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'd agree. I think it's a gimme fight. I don't use that very often, but I think this is a gimme fight for Lee Cutler.
Yeah. So let's move on, mate, to another fighter that I'm really frustrated about, and that's Michael Mickinson.
Yeah.
Great fighter. The problem, great fighter. Where's his push? Why is he in? Why is he? I mean, last time out, he was it 6 rounder or something stupid?
Yeah.
And this don't look much better, to be honest. The guy, I don't know, mate. I don't really know what to say about Mickinson's career. I feel for him because he calls out people, he calls out the names, but the fights don't get made.
Yeah, this kid is in with. It's the first time he's outside of Africa, isn't it? He's 11-0, I think I read. So I mean, you don't know what you're getting, do you? But
no, you don't.
Mickinson at this stage of his career needs to be fighting renowned names.
World level title, level fighters, mate. Fringe world level fighters. That's where Mickinson's level is.
He's got a big following from Portsmouth. He can shift tickets. Why? He's gone to Bournemouth. Why not start developing Portsmouth?
Yeah, I know it's not far away. I know it's not a million miles away, mate. But I just don't understand it. I don't understand why he's not getting fighters inside the top 10 or top 5 or.
The Portsmouth fans follow the football club. Even now, they get big numbers. So I'm sure they're going to follow one of their own.
Yeah.
They just don't add up.
Yeah, it's one of them, mate. I just don't get. I don't get it. He obviously comes through this fight. He's much too good for this kid. I know he's. You look at his record and he's 11 fights, 9 knockouts. But who they been against?
Yeah, you don't know what level that's at, do you?
No, you don't know. So swiftly moving on, mate, to the main fight on the card. Chris Billam-Smoth, as we all know, did wonders in that last fight for the world title. Makes his defence now against Marius Masternak, who is a very, very experienced operator, mate. He's old. Well, that's what I was going to come to. I think Chris Billam-Smoth's probably getting him at the right time. I mean, he was in with Tony Bellew in 2015 for a European title fight.
And that was his last fight of note, by the way.
Yeah, he was. Record, yeah. I agree, mate.
Sky putting this big sell on this fight that is coming over as a killer and blah blah blah. Maybe 10 years ago, and that he's sparring by heavyweights and all this lot. Let's have it right. I think Billam-Smoth's getting a touch here. is getting a touch.
I don't know about that. I think that's a little bit unfair. Because what you're supposed to do, mate, when a Coley backs out of the fight, when a Coley don't want the fight, what are you going to do?
I think he could have enticed a better level of opponent than this, to be honest.
Well, he's going to get a better level of opponent very shortly, mate, isn't he? Because it's going to be unifications, you would think.
He just showed you what a poor division it is, in my view.
The problem is, there's other world level cruiserweights on boxers.
That's what I mean.
Bill.
So why not matchmake them?
I just don't understand it. I don't understand it.
The obvious one's Ryatpour, right? That's the obvious one.
But Ryatpour's the thing is, Ryatpour's beat Billam-Smoth. He's the only loss on Billam-Smoth's record.
Yeah, and they keep him apart. Let's be honest.
I mean, I think they were trying to get Ryatpour another world title fight, and then once they're both champions, then make the fight. I understand that. I understand the idea behind that. But you haven't made the world title fight for Ryatpour. He was on the undercard in Telford, fighting nobody. Why? Why? That's not preparing him for nothing. He needs to be against world level fighters, or he needs to be getting a world title shot.
And this is where I've got question marks. And I've mentioned it before, Andy, on this show, Ante, about Shalom. Can he make them big fights?
Yeah.
I don't know. Is my
Agreed.
I've got question marks.
Oh, that's me. I apologise. Can you take that off, Cole?
Yeah, of course.
Sorry, guys. I'm on my phone and it's a bit difficult. I'm trying to scroll to see the comments at the bottom of the screen.
So I think Billam-Smoth will dominate this fight from first bell to however long it goes. I think it's a touch. And I'll be honest, I think people are bored of the cruiserweight. There's a reason why Usyk stepped up to heavyweight. I've just lost all until they make the big fights, i.e. Ryatpour, Billam-Smoth. I think people are losing interest.
It's a great story, Billam-Smoth's story, though, and where he's come from. It's a great story for him to get to where he's got to, and all the best. But yeah, I as a boxing fan, as a neutral, I want to see that fight. Billam-Smoth's definitely improved. Ryatpour has a massive punch. It's a much more level fight this time round than it was the first time, if it happens. Because I don't know, because we haven't seen enough of Ryatpour, in my opinion, since that fight. We've not seen enough of him. He's been out. He's not fighting consistently. I don't know whether that's down to him or whether that's down to his promotion or what, but it's just not happening. Billam-Smoth's obviously moved on. He's a much more rounded fighter now.
And the only ticket seller.
Yes.
Problem.
Yeah, it is.
Ryatpour doesn't shift tickets. Coley doesn't seem to shift tickets. Billam-Smoth seems to be building a fan base in Bournemouth, so well done to Boxer for that, because it was non-existent before that.
Yeah.
I think he's got a real problem because they're on big contracts by all accounts, aren't they? So, yeah, there's a reason why Eddie Hearn let the bunch of them go.
Yeah, but I mean, of the ones that have gone, you got to give credit to Billam-Smoth for taking the bull by the horns, ain't you?
Well, he's about the only one, though, isn't he?
He is. Yeah, he is. He is. But he's doing great stuff. I'm taking nothing away from Billam-Smoth and what's happened down in that McGuigan gym, because
this isn't aimed at the fighters by any stretch. It's aimed at the promotion. There's a reason why they're called promoters.
Yeah, there is, mate, and they should be doing more. I completely agree. I just don't see a strategy with Boxer. It's kind of shotgun. They're throwing a lot of stuff at loads of different things and hoping something sticks and makes a massive explosion. I just don't see any of it happening. I think the money that they forked out to get some of these Olympians, I think they thought that was gonna bring them bigger fan bases, bigger viewership or whatever. I don't think that's at the moment that's not worked.
I'd be interested to know what the likes of Lauren Price and Ben Whittaker think, and the Olympians that signed with Boxer, because they would have gone to Boxer because of the Sky platform. I'd
Absolutely.
probably argue.
Yeah.
But hindsight's a great thing, but I wonder if you ask the majority of them now whether they should have gone with DAZN, what the answer would be. Because I don't think they're profiled anywhere near where they thought it was going to be.
No, I'm sure. I'm sure it's not. And well, I mean, they're all on deals, mate. Let's see what happens when the deals run out.
It'd be interesting.
Absolutely. Well, I think that's about us done for the show, mate. To be honest,
just it's an hour mark. So, I'll see you that and then there. So, thank you for all the comments in the sidebar, much appreciated. Hope to see you again next week live at 7 p.m. This has been Last Bell Boxing, sponsored by LW Lifting Limited and SC Travel. We'll see you next week, same time, same place, Thursday at 7 p.m. Leave all your comments in the comments box below, and we'll see you next week. Thank you.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers.